Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's FPV podcast. We got a new special for you. Kevin from CandyQuads just got back from Reno, so he's got a bunch of information about the MultiGP Nationals. Plus, he was also with me at MultiGP IO International Open, so we got plenty to talk about. But actually, before then, Elvin, say hello.
Hey, everybody. I'm sitting here in my car at the shop getting my muffler welded on, so that's why I'm here. I'm stuck outside, y'all.
He's stuck in the boonies. All right, Kevin, Crash RC, better known as CandyQuads. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
Man, we got a lot to talk about. Doing well, man.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, he just got back from Reno, so that was an exciting adventure. So we're going to get right into it. Now, the big story coming out of MultiGP Nationals is turtle mode, because as we well know, as the stories start coming out that, a lot of the winners, without turtle mode, they might not have been, 1, 2, and 3 and things like that. So what you see, Kevin, and what's your opinion on that?
I'm all for the new technology. I can't say it was still an exciting race. It's sad to see like one of your buddies crash out and then, or it's sad to see like this guy or somebody crash out and then you pass him and you think you got him in distance per se. And then you crash out accidentally, and now this guy flips himself over and passes you up. I feel for you, dude. You know what I mean? I feel for you, but it's the way things are going, dude. If you didn't have it this weekend, the results would be definitely different.
Here's the thing, though. Right? We tell a lot of people to stick with the same rig that throughout the racing season because that's what you're going to fly with the best. But this is one of those instances where we're kind of wrong because turtle mode, which is basically it's a mode that you can select in which the quad will try to right itself. So if you're upside down, it'll try to flip itself over so you can take off again. But it's only available in the beta flight release candidates, and you have to run D-Shot on your ESCs. And that's the only way you can get turtle mode. So if you didn't go down the route of getting the latest and greatest onto your quad for this race, you would not have turtle mode to use for this event. So it's kind of one of those gotchas. Elvin, you and I, we always talk about, race with, something consistent and, throughout the year. But it looks like this one, it just didn't work out for that philosophy.
Well, I mean, turtle mode just came out and, a couple of guys jumped on the bandwagon early and they have like a couple of weeks advantage over guys that don't know about it. And it does work, like I said, I think if you hit the ground, you just need to get penalized anyway. You know what I mean? Because you could end up back out running someone and neck with the top 3 again. And there's no real punishment for making a failure point. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, the results would have been different. Now every format does have a brand of turtle mode, and like you said, you have to be on 3x2 running D-Shot to get it in beta flight format. But Race Flight has it, and I think KISS already has a derivative on it, and so yeah, it's out there. You really need to know about it, and this is the top 130 something pilots in the country, dude. If they don't know about turtle mode, I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, when you get to the top 60, you guys are professionals, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the other rule MultiGP has when you get to the finals? Is if you don't make the first gate, it's a restart.
Right.
Okay, is that true?
I
know
that's
let's
true.
say I didn't. Let's say I didn't get off the block like I wanted, and I'll just crash into the first gate. And then it's a restart. I get another round, right?
Now, I know that's true for certain races. I don't know if that's true across the board. That's the reason why I hesitated to.
Every national at that point. Yeah.
Somebody will correct us.
It really comes
turtle,
out.
We were screaming turtle modes in the pit. Why? We were screaming turtle, 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 turtle in the pits, and most people had it. A lot of people didn't. You know.
So, like, if you were to give me a breakdown of how many people had it and how many people didn't, what would your breakdown be? Just like a real guesstimate.
I would guesstimate that a third had it. I mean, a lot of these guys, and I can't speak for them. You know, I mean, I can only tell from their OSD. You know, a lot of people were running high, or charging their normal lipos to HV, you know, to high volt to like 17.3 or something, and regular guys were just running regular 16.9, you know, and you can watch. I mean, I was watching everybody, and a lot of guys are still running, like you said, they 3.1.7 beta flight and multi-shot, and you know what I mean, because it's nice, it's beautiful, you love flying it, you know.
And sometimes
That's why I'm running it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's time for them to bump up because I don't know if MultiGP is going to make a ruling on this, because have you heard anything on the MultiGP side on whether or not they're going to rule on turtle mode or, you know, flip your quad mode?
No. You know, Raceflight has a crash, what is it, recovery mode.
Yes.
Have you heard of that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you hit a gate, it spins you out, and it puts you on your predetermined last trajectory. So it like just spins you around, and then boom, you're right again.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I think all of this type of technology is just going to continue to progress. So I really don't feel like them ruling it as something that you can't do. It's not going to help them, because there are going to be other technologies like that is just going to continue to progress until you basically are saying, hey, you can't have new firmware on your flight controller, because everything is going to help you fly better or help you recover from a crash. So you might as well just, in my opinion, you just let it all go. And you just tell the pilots, you know, you run the risk of upgrading to the latest and greatest. But you also run the risk of, you know, when you update to the latest and greatest, it might crash you out because it might not work. So it's one of those things where the pilots are just going to have to make the determination on whether or not they want to take the risk.
And we've seen that happen. So
it just proved itself right there.
It just proved itself. But that's only to pilots that, you know, are, I guess, familiar enough with running the latest version to where, because this track was really hard. I mean, one of the things that you and I were talking about, Kevin, was that this was a very, very tight track. And, you know, the design of it was very difficult. So if you weren't used to the flight controller, you know, handling, that wouldn't help you out either.
Yeah, you had to be super smooth, dude. And the guys were cutting tenths, hundredths of a second off by finding the niche. There were, if you watch some of the DVR footage of, you know, don't watch like final race, because the final race, everybody's got butterflies. How do I say it? What's the word for it? You know, their adrenaline's up and shit. You know what I mean? They're twitchy. That's like when they're at their peak of shaking. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Shaking on the sticks. So what I'm saying is, the last one is not the one to watch. I mean, that's not where the records were broken. That's where he won the race. But records were broken in like the practices and you know, the qualifying rounds. You know, guys were pulling crazy laps, and they were doing it by being so smooth on the sticks, dude. So yeah, and the starting block, that was a new thing for a lot of people too. You know, the way these guys utilize that starting block now. You know, when Scully says less than 5, these guys are up at like a 45, 60 degree angle, waiting to just rip off the block.
Yeah, they're preloading and they're just gutting it as soon as they hear that tone. What do you think about that?
That's a great skill to have, though, you know.
What I think about it is this. You know how Formula One, every year they have rules. The rules aren't the same every year. The rules are put there for you to, the technology to evolve in that required element of the racing. You know what I mean? So this was kind of, you know, I mean, they'll probably use it now all the time, but it's kind of just another one of those things. Here's an obstacle. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Like you have to use 20 gallons of gas per hour or something. Or you can only use certain tires so that they breed technology in those areas. You get what I'm saying, kind of?
yeah, I got you.
Right.
And there's going to be regulations around, how you preload and also how long the straightaway can be because, some people might get an unfair advantage because of that. We'll see.
Right.
I will say one thing though. I wonder if they're going to use those starting blocks for all of their big races now.
Yeah, you could still preload on a pad. It's just a couple of people got called for a false start, and they got docked, or I don't know how that went down. Maybe it was a 3-second penalty or something, but I'm sure it's written down somewhere.
Okay, so in general, Kevin, what do you think of the racing?
Oh, it was great, dude. It was great. Yeah, I mean, the best of the best. You're here to see the best of the best. The best of the best were there. This was the people in your country, the people from the United States, all around the whole country.
What do you think of that final race? Did you think the best pilots were showcased in that final race, or was it that that track really affected who actually got there?
I cannot say that turtle mode didn't play a factor. And you're talking about the final race, dude. I can't not say that. I mean, they were great pilots, and I don't want but turtle mode, they used it throughout the whole 3-4 day event. You know what I mean? So it not only play a factor in, like, I know Gil crashed out in one of his semis, right, and flipped over, and then came and passed a guy who crashed out and got him by distance or something like that. You know what I mean? So, and that was just in the 2 races prior to the final, So, yeah, it's hard to say, dude. Throughout the whole weekend, turtle mode did play a factor. So yes, I'm gonna have to say there were top pilots in that group, that really fought to get to where they're at without turtle mode. So I don't know.
Okay. What about you, Alvin? Did you think the top pilots were the one racing, or did you think that it was there were definitely other things like the track and technology that really played a role?
I know the track was. I looked at the track. The track was difficult. I watched a couple of. I watched Rombot's video, McFly's video, DroneBot's videos, and I watched a couple of those guys and a couple of girls too, and the track was really, really difficult, but it was all about the flow. Once toward the end, you could start to see that the time was being cut in half because the flow was so smooth.
Right.
So I think that's why we say that some tracks are just too difficult, but in this case, you want a difficult track because the difficult track is going to weed out those that are not supposed to be there.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, no.
Wednesday and Thursday track was different than the Friday or the Saturday, Sunday track.
That's true.
Yes.
So
it was actually a harder track for the pilots who are crawling to get into the top 52, or trying to be the top 13 to get into the Fast Furious 56 or 52. I don't know which it was, 56 or 52.
Yeah, I can't remember that number either.
So Kevin, what did they change in order to make the track easier, on the final day?
There was an over-under where it was really tough to get the other side of the under, and a lot of guys were doing a controlled spin in order to make that third gate. Okay, so what they did was they moved the gate out further, right? Then they moved another gate in the middle somewhere, a little bit over about 10 feet, and then changed the way you went top, bottom, 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 up, down. You know, the way they went through it.
Okay, so basically there was some little adjustments on the final day just so that they can speed up the racing, make sure that the event was fun, or was it just feedback saying that this track isn't working out?
No, I think they just took it on themselves to make it that way. It made the racing a lot faster, and I mean it was exciting either way. But watching these guys trying to make this over under on the first course was great, dude. I loved it. You know, you just get to watch the guys who can really finesse their shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It takes a lot to do it. It takes a lot to do it. I'm not kidding. And this course needed a guy smooth on the sticks.
Cool. Yeah, I think, like just going back to the subject of the final race, it definitely felt like, I mean, they were definitely the best pilots or some of the best pilots that got into the finals, but it seemed like it was also the pilots that was able to, hold back a little bit, not get too excited because of, how difficult the track was. And they were the winners of that day. What I'm trying to say is I believe that there were a bunch of faster pilots that could have made faster laps, but they didn't make it because...
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of faster laps, right.
Very true. So any final thoughts before we move on to MultiGP International Open?
Oh, no, we're good. We've talked about turtle mode and all these new technologies, so yeah.
Cool. Let's go ahead and move over to the International Open. How did you enjoy that?
Dude, I don't know. I love that place. I just love that place. Yeah, getting there with the dew coming off the grass and yeah, all of that. There was something about the first year, and it wasn't called DIO. It was Nationals, wasn't it? That they had in Muncie last year?
Last year, that was actually the Nationals, which got moved to Reno this year. International Open is a brand new event.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I was at Nationals last year, and there were 3 tracks set up, right?
Yep. And this year they have 8 tracks.
Yeah, and then this year they have 8 tracks. Yeah, a lot can be said about just that. You know what I'm saying? But it was fun nonetheless. It was great. I just loved being there. The reason I loved Nationals the year before is that at like 6 a.m. you'd have the discus launch glider guys out there, right, trying to catch thermals as the sun's coming up. They're just discus launch gliders, and then by like 5 p.m. you'd have warbirds, like 5 guys flying formation and P-51s on the other end of the place. You know what I mean? And then you'd have the guys doing the control line. You know what I mean? They're flying control line planes. That was the coolest thing about being at Muncie that year. And then this year when I went, it was just all drones. But there was a lot of cool thing about this year that I really enjoyed, and I love the way they prepared and did it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely a huge event. Like, they basically took up most of Muncie, which is a real big challenge to do because that's like 50 acres that you basically are taking up. It's definitely RC paradise out there if you enjoy flying.
Right.
If you haven't been to Muncie, I mean, you definitely owe it to yourself to get out there at least once just to enjoy yourself. I know you spent most of your time over on the World Track. Is that right?
I did, and it was great. Everybody was at the World Track, dude, and that became its own little thing. But
that was the madhouse, right? Because everybody was trying to get packs in there.
Everybody was trying to get packs in, dude. Yep, it was a madhouse.
It's like
from opening day till closing day, that track was being used like crazy. Oh, even on closing day, it was closing day, right? Everything was pretty much shut down. People were just packing up their stuff, right? And what happens? The champ of the whole event, BMS Thomas, and so I'm sitting there packing up my stuff, and Sean Taylor comes in because he didn't race the final. He had his wedding anniversary that night, right? So he didn't run the final. He went out and with his wife, right? So the next day they come up for a grunge match. Sean Taylor pulls up his little fold-up chair, and they're all sitting there ripping the track. I mean, imagine that. It's Sunday morning, like 7 o'clock. and these guys are just ripping the track, dude. You know what I mean?
They were still going at it hardcore because they just want to race. Yep. Sounds about right for
Yeah.
the top pilots. That's
Man,
pretty cool.
You don't go to a race and leave and not at least get a chance. You know,
Hey,
you got to bump
fun.
a little shoulder a little bit.
It was
That's
so
true.
fun, dude.
Dude, tell me a little bit about the spec race. I think the funniest thing that I saw from you that time was, you know, before the spec race, you put a post out there that says, "We need more spec race batteries," and I'm like scratching my head. Is like, how can you run out of spec race batteries in an event
Well,
where you
again,
have the first spec race?
It's funny. People were practicing, right, and they needed that battery to run. You know, they're running they didn't have one to run the spec race. You know, and no one had one. I mean, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then the tattoo vendors show up and they brought them, you know, but I didn't know they were going to show up with them. We were all practicing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we didn't have no batteries to run. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking for those adrenalines or the star lines, and nobody had them.
That is funny, but okay. So
There
was a little bit of an oopsie there. But talk to me about the spec race. What did you enjoy about that?
I enjoyed that. Like the top 6 were guys from Illinois, friends of mine. You know, I was happy.
He's a little biased.
Listen to this. This guy on the stick 7 months took 4th. That's when I'm gets me excited. You know, I'm excited that you guys are learning not to push the track. Right? You couldn't go fast on that track. If you tried to go fast on that track, you would crash out, and there was no turtle mode back then. Okay. Well, maybe there was, but yeah. So you couldn't go fast, and guys were trying to go faster, and you just couldn't go any faster. You had to slow down in order to be fast.
That is funny.
Well, smooth, right? Smooth.
Yeah. Well, there's different types of pilots. I watch them, and there's guys who are erratic, like point and shoot type stuff, and then there's guys that are smooth as like butter, and yeah, I mean, they both get it done. I don't know how they do it, but they both get it done, you know.
Now
you race. What are you? What do you think you are? You know,
I try to want to be, or try to be a smooth pilot. At risk of slamming into the ground, at risk of not making the corner or being able to pull the G out of it, you know? Yeah, well, no, it's changing. It's changing. People are seeing how these tracks, you can cut time on these tracks, and the only way to do it is to be smooth, you know?
Like, there are times, like, here's the deal. If you're smooth, you're going to be fast so long as you can be smooth the entire track. If you're one of the point and shooters, it's easier to make up a mistake. If you're smooth and you make a mistake, it's a little bit harder to get back onto the line. And, you know, like some of those smooth guys, they take like they'll come into a gate and they're already like sideways, you know? And so if you're a little bit off on the smooth guys, you gotta watch. Yeah, you usually end up crashing because, you know, it's those lines that they take they're kind of, you know, like hair's breadth away from the gate sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to watch some of the practice and the practice rounds. You got to watch the DVR from the practice rounds and the qualifying rounds, because that's where you're going to see all of that stuff we're talking about. You know what I mean? That's where they're refining their craft. You know what I mean?
Right.
Definitely. It's a pretty cool thing. So, Kevin, like one of the things that they touted about the spec race, or what people would hope they get out of the spec race, is that we get tighter packs of racing. Is that what you saw in the spec race?
Yeah, you could visually see it. Yeah.
You're not very convincing, Kevin.
I'm trying to see, because I'd watch the first 3 gates and they'd be like in a pack, You know, it wasn't like one guy was gone. You know what I mean? They
Right.
were all within 6 feet. So it was nice. And if that's what they're trying to, yeah, you know, it was good. I don't know. You know, it'll all change again next year. We'll be buying different equipment, whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You know,
Check out
Yeah.
my super ice cold bearings.
Oh dear. No, I hope they don't change the spec for a little while, to be honest with you.
Oh,
because
okay.
these spec-
Yeah.
No, that's my hope. I don't know if it's true or not, because like those are expensive equipment that you have. It would suck to actually, you know, build a bunch of those and then just have it change 6 months later. It's like, holy cow.
Right.
It's like
Right.
it's like $1,000 gone, 1,500 for some people. It's like that's not cool.
Huh?
All right.
No,
Talk to
not
me
at all.
talk to me about the night race. You were there. So did you enjoy the night race?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I was over at the campgrounds having a couple of beers after the day of racing, and I seen this place light up, and then I start seeing little buzz blue LEDs and red LEDs going around. And I was like, holy shit, I gotta go
Right.
check this out. So yeah, a bunch of us went over and set some times. Yeah, I heard Stingy rip that course up, but yeah, very cool, dude, very cool.
Now, that was kind of like a casual thing, right? It was kind of the after party. We were just doing it for fun type deal.
Yeah, to keep it going a little bit. So same with the tiny whoop course, you know. Jesse had his whole little thing set up over at this place, and it was so cool, dude. I mean, he was flying in and out of the building through his car. It was crazy.
Yeah, definitely a
Yeah,
fun time.
that's where Sean Dolan was at there. Our one of our listeners, Sean Dolan was at that.
The thing that was cool there was you got regular people coming through and seeing it. You know, must have been on the wrong side of the fence at Nationals, but the people that came to the IO, you know, like I took a mom and his kid over to, and we're talking like a 2-mile drive over to the tiny whoop course to say, hey, just to introduce them to like Jesse and say, hey, check this stuff out. And I'm giving running them through with my goggles and stuff and talking to them, you know, and meeting these people. His grandma was with him or something. She's like, holy shit, you know, she's going crazy. Look at this. And they stayed like an hour and just watched tiny whoops rip this course up.
That's cool. Hey, that's what we need more of, definitely. All right.
That
So
kind of in it.
yes, definitely. So, okay, 2 more races to go, and then we're going to start wrapping this up. The team race, I was actually there the most, and trying to see if the team race was actually a thing. I really enjoyed it, but I want to get your perspective first, Kevin. What did you think?
Yeah, I wish I got enough time to go over there. I was just watching some teams practice, and I don't even know what the strategy was, but I know there was strategy, dude, because remember Mega Drone X? I think it was Zoomis and Team Ready Made RC. They might have like switches on their thing so they can make a quick turnaround and this and that, you know. But I know it takes a little strategy. It's not just get up and go, you know.
Yeah, definitely. There were definitely a lot of teams with a really good strategy. I definitely like the idea of having raised gates so that you can have people running around the course and it's a tad bit safer. I'm not saying it's completely safe, but it's at least safer than having gates on the ground. It made for a different racing experience because this is the first, you know, if you watch a lot of drone racing in person, this is the first time you actually have to look up in order to see most of the racing because gates were, you know, like 10 feet off the ground, stuff like that. But it made for a safer atmosphere. I know like Team Canada and then several other teams had some great strategies. I went over there and I tried to bug them about their racing strategy, and they refused to tell me, so I would just sneak over and listen in, and they'd be like, don't you dare tell anyone of our strategy. Right. I'll tell you this, though. The teams that had captains, like real captains, real deal captains, in which he said something and the team followed, those were the good teams. Because if it was just a bunch of guys, when, you know, things started not going right, as in people crashing or quads got lost, nobody was spotting, that was when, like, chaos kind of erupted for those teams because they just didn't have, like, the roles and the leadership needed to, like, you know, handle the adjustments as things progressed, because that's what happened, you know, because mid-airs happen, people get stuck in gates, you know, like people land in the wrong spots, you know, people start yelling.
And then the time.
Yeah,
You know, it
exactly.
came down to like percentages of time that you actually flew was part of the whole deal, you know?
Yeah, the math was kind of funny, to tell you the truth, because like there were it played with a lot of people. I was a spotter for Team Detroit Motor in the finals, and one of the problems is that one of their pilots, because of a midair M1 and then a crash in a gate because he was trying to make up laps in another, his lap count was really low. So you had all these fast pilots from, I'm just going to give you the story from this one, but there are plenty others. But there were a bunch of fast pilots, you know, like Beast Mode, who sat on the bench because he got his laps in and he couldn't get any more because they were trying to get pilots that were short on laps. So his best pilot sat on the bench like 80% of the time because of this rule, and it actually made for a very interesting race, even as me being a judge and spotting for that, because it just like the dynamics was so different.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely, I really enjoyed it. I think that if there was a commentator for each team that can kind of roll off and give you updates of each team, it would make for a really interesting event. But I think one commentator for that one race is very difficult because Joe Scully isn't hearing the stories of each team because he's not there. You know, those decisions, you know, the chaos going on. You can only get those stories when you're there. So like somebody's got to feed Scully these information in order to actually tell that story. Scully can't do it from his position. He can only tell you he crashed out, he's behind X laps. That's not the real story. The real story is he crashed out. What the heck did the team just do? Or they just like completely in chaos. That was the story that's missing. And I'm kind of sad that, you know, it's never going to be told unless you were there to watch the whole thing, which was very enjoyable. That's what I wanted to convey out of that.
And I didn't make it over to the freestyle area at all.
What?
So I couldn't make. I didn't make it. And yeah, I heard it fell down. I heard it fell down the first day. I don't know.
Hey, freestyle pilots, man, you know, they're going for it. It's gonna crash, you know.
Yep. Well, it was the wind too, but because it was built so high.
It was built very high. That's true, and I guess the ropes couldn't hold it up. There was a lot of fabric trying to keep all that stuff together.
For sure.
All right, so yeah. All right, last race, World Cup. Dude, this race ran late, mostly because the team race ran late, so the World Cup ran late. You guys were up till, or actually we were up till like 2 a.m. trying to figure out who the winner is. They were racing all the way through the night. Luckily, they had lights there so that they can continue racing. What's your thoughts on the World Cup race? I thought that was pretty exciting.
I'm excited at all of them, really. I am. But it was really exciting, dude. It was, you know. The MultiGP had commentating going on constantly. You know, Trappy was over there. Everybody was watching the TV sets to the final end, biting their nails. You know, race flight was there, Preston and his guys, and it was just crazy, dude. It was, yeah.
Dude,
I love it.
Some of the craziest strategies that I heard coming out of there, and did you hear about this? Was that like basically they did a mirror of the regional finals, so it wasn't like, I don't think it was like backwards, but they did something, but because of the way they did it, like people were actually flipping their camera and also reversing their controls so that it flew like the regional final track. Did you hear about this?
That was only one guy, and it was Blake Sams, and he told me not to tell anybody. But yeah, so
yeah, but people can watch his FPV though.
By the finals, everybody knew. I mean, yeah. So like, you'd punch up on my goggles the footage, and his clouds would be on the left side, and everybody else's clouds would be on the right side. You know, when you're looking at the image. So he mirrored the image on his camera. He just said mirrored the image, and then he reversed his sticks, and boom. He was ripping it back. He was ripping the regional finals track.
He was.
Like he remembers it. You know?
Right. Exactly. Unfortunately, he still didn't get into the final. So even though that was a very awesome strategy, and it's like, I'm kind of surprised he actually figured that out in such a short span.
It got him a long way. You know, he's
Really?
super fast, dude. He even got into this one. He was really close too. Him and Provo were like neck and neck the whole time.
Definitely. I mean, yes, definitely fast, but like I'm just so surprised that only one person figured that out, and then like just because, you know, he figured it out, it catches like wildfire throughout and everybody knows. It's like
Yes. No, it was cool. I was trying to keep it a secret, you know. And it's
ah,
funny. And I'd pull him up on my video and just to watch, see how he was doing backwards, you know.
that's crazy. You know, it's one of those things where you can't keep a secret forever because everybody can easily watch your DVR or your FPV footage, which they can DVR.
Right.
And so, any takeaways from the World Cup besides like all the young guys are super fast and they're super crazy and they're just gonna beat us all out?
It's not. It can't be that way. It can't be that way. Nurk was super fast at Nats, and Jet was super fast at Nats. These guys were the guys who were setting the times, you know, breaking the records. So anything from the IO, I just wouldn't go that crazy. Maybe 5 tracks would have been better than 8 tracks, you know. Let some of the airplane guys come. The part of that scenery is really nice. I love seeing that kind of thing, you know what I mean? The wing race. Oh, they had a wing track and a wing race there. Shelby Vol, I think, took that one.
Dude, we need to get Shelby and Alex on here and let them talk about the wacky wing stuff they did over there because there's some stories that I can't say, but I'll let them say it.
Yes. Well, the last day, the final day of the IO, they had that goofy race. I don't know what they call it. Now I'm lost for words, but it's like roller derby, but with quads. You got like one guy who has to make the laps and 3 blockers.
Yeah. The battle race. The battle race.
Yeah. That one, dude. That was great. You know. So it's just so fun to have stupid shit. You know what I mean? Let's have the battle race. I love it.
Hey, there was some moolah on who won that, so it wasn't just for fun either. So like.
Oh yeah, a couple of my guys won it for sure. I was supposed to actually spot with these guys, but I had to go, dude. I had a long drive. So I cut out that Sunday morning and said, see you to everybody. And they ended up winning it. Guys from Florida.
So last question before we start wrapping this up. If you could only go to one event next year, Nationals or IO, which one would you pick? I'm putting you on the spot, Kevin.
Oh, there's no question. You ask everybody this question. Everybody. And they're going to answer Muncie, dude. For sure. I'll go to Muncie twice a year if they have the Nationals there and the IO, dude. Because next year it's not going to be the Riot Open, I bet. It'll probably be something else, right?
No clue. Okay, what about you? I'm going to put you on the spot too, Alvin. If you can only go to Nationals or IO, which one would you go to?
IO.
I'm gonna say IO too, and Kevin was stout because he didn't actually pick. He picked both again. All right, Kevin. Hey, how's CandyQuads doing? I know you guys are up there building stuff. I think at IO you were super popular, man. You sold out of stuff. People were all around your tents. So how's life going?
Yeah. No, I got a great. I mean, it was cool. A lot of people. Paperwork? Yeah, I sold a lot of quads. I sold a couple of spec racers. The guy took like 17th and 21st with my spec racers that I sold.
Awesome.
And then I sold a bunch of T-shirts, and then like you were saying, the last day, what is it? Mains, and we're out there till 2 a.m. Luckily, I had some hoodies, dude, because everybody was freezing, you know. So I sold all my hoodies, you know. So yeah, I love it.
I want one of them hoodies.
I got you. I just sold Elo a hoodie. He was freezing in Reno the other night.
There we go. See, look, this is the secret art of selling clothing. You just go to events and wait until everything gets cold, and then you can sell them.
Yeah. Twice.
Those guys from Florida are freezing. They cold easy. You know, it could be like 7 and they're still cold. I'm making a joke.
Now they're angry at you. All 70 million of them down in Florida, dude.
It was fun. I love that. I love that area.
Definitely. Although it's a very wet area right now. Hope you're doing well after post Hurricane 2, 3, 4, 5, however many there are. And you know,
if you take a deep breath right now and blow at somebody from Florida, they all get nervous.
Well,
dude, they took a beating. So you know.
Mexico today. So prayers out.
Yeah. Mexico took a beating today, man. That's bad.
Yep. We wish you all well, and we hope you're all safe and speedy recovery. You know, but yeah, definitely, it's been tough for our southern brethren. All right, so we're gonna start wrapping this up because once again, I'm always over my allotted time. That's right. Hey, Kevin, where can people reach out to you for CandyQuads or yourself?
Yeah, you can get me at CandyQuads or Kevin Cascone on Facebook and info@candyquads.com. I mean, I love helping people out. You know, there's a lot of things to overcome in building your own quad and dealing with the little quirks that they come with. So, yeah, hit me up. I love explaining it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm eventually, probably next year, maybe around Christmas, I'm gonna definitely hit you up for a long range kit. I'm just gonna let you let you recommend the kit, and then I'm gonna go build a long range quad. You kind of scratch that itch that I want to fulfill.
Dude, it's all the stuff that you love, dude. I just sold Provo my 7-inch long range with crossfire on it and stuff because he said after this race I'm gonna have nothing to do but fly long range. So, you know, he just became part of big team Big Whoop, you know, so he's going to be out there ripping with Zach and Jordan and that whole crew out there, dude.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that hey, I thought they got rid of the 7-inch frame from TBS. They're still around?
Yep, I got another one all built already for you, dude.
Oh, he's trying to make me. Oh, that's evil.
I'll
that's evil.
Get it.
Oh, you guys are evil. Okay, I gotta get off before I go buy some.
This will be my fifth.
Your fifth one you built?
Dude, so.
Wow, that's awesome.
One I built. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, guys, if you want a long range setup, definitely hit up Kevin. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah, he makes some really nice frames or nice drones. Go.
Thank you. I do want to say that there is a race coming up this weekend. I don't know when this is going to post, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's a big race called the Great Lakes Open, Great Lakes Cup or something. And the cool thing about this race is that every day they're going to have practice, qualifier, and main. So there's going to be 3 champions in a sense. You got 3 chances. You know what I'm saying? So every day they start from the beginning all over again.
That is kind of neat. So, you know what? This is the first time I've heard of that. I know the race that you're talking about, the Great Lakes race, and this is the first time I've heard of somebody trying to crown a champion one day at a time. I don't think I've ever heard that. Elvin, have you ever heard this?
Not in drone racing.
I think, yeah, it's gonna be cool, dude. It's gonna be so cool.
Okay, cool. Hey, you know what? You can tell us all about it on Facebook.
Everybody's going to.
There you go.
Yeah. I'll tell you all about it for sure.
Alrighty, man. We're going to cut out. Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and telling us what what was going on in nationals and also what's going on in IO. Until next time, we're gonna cut out and everybody enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Hey Kevin, thanks for not talking about hot zapping batteries again.
How what? How? Don't talk about what batteries?
Hot zapping batteries.
Oh no zap batteries.
All right, man. It was good talking to you.